heard a story one time about a man who was a Protestant minister. He had a near-death experience. He died. And all of his friends were around him praying for him that God would somehow save him and bring him back to life. God heard their prayers, and the man revived after about, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 minutes of being clinically dead. He said that in the other world he heard this amazing music, and he said he'd never heard anything like it before. He said he could never quite put his finger on what it was, and then he went to visit an Orthodox church, and he said that that was it. And he actually joined the Orthodox Church because of what he heard.
Music has certain remarkable qualities which even the spoken word does not possess.
Music does something that words can't. It goes to the deepest point of who we are, the center of our person. It's a quintessential part of what it means to worship God, to be able to sing to God, to be able to pour out our heart to Him in thanksgiving, praise.
Orthodox worship cannot take place without singing. Another way of putting it is that Orthodox worship is singing.
Through music, through beauty, many people come to the church, come to the faith. This is what happened more than 1,000 years ago with the envoys of Prince Vladimir of Kiev. They attended the services in the St. Sophia Cathedral in Constantinople, and they were overwhelmed by the beauty and grandeur of the divine services.
And so imagine these Viking warriors walking in to a place that was absolutely heavenly, filled with incense, icons, and beautiful chanting.
But certainly there would have been many bishops, many priests and deacons, a great movement.
They heard the singing, the chanting of sizable choirs.
Returning to Kiev, they told Prince Vladimir that they didn't know whether they were in heaven or on earth. This played an important role in bringing our ancestors in Rus into the Orthodox Christian faith. And church music today also plays an important missionary role in converting many people to Orthodoxy. When they attend our divine services, they listen to the beautiful church singing, especially of the Russian Orthodox Church, and many are moved and they begin to learn more about Orthodoxy, its doctrines, and its spiritual life.
Properly fulfilled and spiritually inspiring liturgical music is key to the sustainability and growth of the Church and is paramount to evangelizing the Orthodox faith in North America. It must, however, be prayerfully fulfilled by believers to be the most effective and pleasing to God. Well over 125,000 people regularly attend the nearly 1,000 churches of the Russian Church, the Church abroad, and the Orthodox Church in America. With such a large number of parishes having roots in Russian choral tradition, who is training the next generation of conductors and singers in North America?
The emigres who came to this country or who left their homeland, they had education, they had training that they had received in Russia. But it was very difficult to continue that tradition of training in the emigration.
Anyone who was willing to learn and try with these particular people were able to really develop a lot and learn a lot and ultimately be part of a choir that continued a very important spiritual and artistic tradition. And PaTRAM is trying to do just that again.
As these people have begun leaving this mortal coil, so their school has begun to be extinguished. It has already been extinguished to such a degree that it must be fanned as you would a small flame to make it brighter. We must once more apply our efforts to the future guardians of this tradition so that its flame might not go out entirely.
We send our priests to train in seminaries to become clergymen. We need an institution such as PaTRAM to train choir directors and singers and specialists in church music.
Oftentimes when I go to parishes, I'm told we have 3 or 4 people who can sing fairly well, but no one really wants to take the lead.
There's a lack of appreciation for proper Orthodox liturgical worship. There's a lack of appreciation for what it means to be a good choir that really understands the depth of our tradition and how to convey it to other people.
We have many talented people in the church in North America, but there's also a need for, in a sense, a disciplined and consistent approach to the liturgical arts.
Many fruitful Orthodox music programs have been conducted over the past several decades, including St. Vladimir's Summer Institute of Music and Pastoral Practice, Psalm, the Pan-Orthodox Society for the Advancement of Liturgical Music, the Sacred Music Institute of Antiochian Village, and ROCOR has also been quite active, holding several church music workshops annually.
We cannot minimize what we've already got. We have 26 years of conferences. We have the music school, which has been going on for a quarter of a century in Jordanville.
But it requires a dedication of 2 weeks of your summer every year for 3 years in a row. Not everybody can do that. So PaTRAM is kind of the next phase. And what's important about PaTRAM is that it is incorporating all that's come before it, including all the leaders from all the jurisdictions in the musical world.
What we have with PaTRAM is an opportunity that we didn't have before, to take people's desires, to take people's impulses, and to layer on top of them a structure and an organization that allows those things to come to life.
Bringing all of these leaders together to help craft a program that is accessible, that uses modern technology. We have the power of the internet.
By the prayers of our Holy Fathers, O Lord Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us. The first thing we're going to do is wave our hands about in different directions. Don't hesitate to make any movements necessary. Good. Your right hand moves well, more or less. Now let's see what your left hand can do. Too early. Now try to combine hands. Watch me. Try it.
So not everything has to happen in a classroom or a purely didactic type of environment. We really want PaTRAM to be somewhat a virtual institute.
If you rehearse your whole repertoire like this, going through each verse and checking the notes, then I can assure you that your technique will improve.
Who is this attractive to? PaTRAM is attractive to the regular person, so to speak, right? People that are holding down jobs.
It's not just for the people who were born with perfect pitch or the people who already have some kind of an education. It is very accessible, and there are many levels. PaTRAM is addressing that in terms of its structure.
So this has to be practical for people.
And so a program like this will offer, I think, incredible opportunities for those who love the life of the church and the hymnography to begin to live into that in a very real way.
As both a teaching and virtual institute, PaTRAM will offer progressive programs at every level of church musical development in both English and Slavonic. These programs do not require the student to have a musical education because the intent is to take capable candidates with reasonable pitch and teach them to sing or conduct. Those who already have musical training can further their education through the master's program. To ensure that PaTRAM continues to build on the work that has been done by music educators in the past, representatives of every seminary and music program in ROCOR and the OCA are actively participating in the Institute. With the revival of the Church in Russia over the past 2 decades, many new and exciting musical training programs are now being offered for church musicians in Russia. One of the more successful programs exists in the Holy Trinity St. Sergius Lavra's Representation Church in Moscow, under the direction of Vladimir Gorbik. In 2013, the PaTRAM Institute partnered with Gorbik to form a similar training program in North America that would focus on the development of prayerful singing through professionalism.
Vladimir Gorbik, I think, is right now the foremost Orthodox conductor in the world, in my opinion.
The beauty of the singing that we heard by Maestro Gorbik and his choir is precisely that it is both professional and prayerful. Oftentimes, we may have the idea that the two cannot coexist. I think that's also the beauty of our Orthodox faith, that we ask for perfection. At the same time, it's done prayerfully, so that the prayer transfigures the professionalism, so it's no longer just a technical product that's being produced.
I think what Gorbik brings with him is an incredible pedigree, and that pedigree comes from the Holy Trinity St. Sergius Monastery, Lavra, which is very well known in Russia and throughout the world for some of the very best singing.
Holy Trinity St. Sergius Lavra was always a source of theological thought. It is very active, very Orthodox, and is, as I see it, the heart of Russia. Of course, the fact that this marvelous singing originated mainly from here, the singing that we know took shape under the direction of Father Matvei Marmil. In this regard, only one phrase comes to mind: the triumph of Orthodoxy. He demanded of his singers a combination of professionalism and spirituality. And it is namely because of this that you get a completely stunning effect.
I really see him as being the heir to Father Matvei. In some way, he is trying to bring that same spirit into music right now.
I think there's a big difference where you look at a monastery, for example, and you have monks that are singing. There's an obvious prayerful connection to what they're doing. It's their entire life. And so I think what we're trying to do, and this is where I believe Volodya Gorbik really gets it, is try to elevate us relative to our singing, because ultimately we're after one thing: the most prayerfully executed music.
In 2013, the PaTRAM Institute launched the Patriarch Tikhon Choir as a means of demonstrating the potential of high-level prayerful music sung by Orthodox believers. In September of the same year, the first weekend of master classes with Vladimir Gorbik was held in St. Tikhon Seminary of America's oldest Orthodox monastery. Singers went through 3 days of services and intense rehearsals, fully immersing themselves in Gorbik's very unique style of conducting in preparation for the world premiere of the Patriarch Tikhon Choir.
The caboose gives no thought to where he is going. The engine takes him there. You need to ignore entirely the tone of my voice, my angry eyebrows, my threatening face. You must simply, figuratively speaking, blindly do what I say.
He is an absolute perfectionist. He's a terror.
I'm pretty much your typical American and didn't know what to expect with Russia.
Ну кто там сы опять говорит не вовремя?
Okay, who put the C in the wrong place?
Was completely taken aback when he singled me out the first day for two main things: that I was singing too loudly.
I am constantly hearing one or two sopranos. You must humble yourself, until I will have to ask you to keep quiet while we are singing.
And that I was swaying in my seat to the music.
Don't wag your heads at me like that. God forbid you start wagging your heads on stage.
And he just did not want any of that.
What is this? That is how you should take the high notes.
It's intense, but I think you also have to really focus on what's going on, because when he breaks, he goes into very long explanations.
Does anyone sitting here know how to take this note? Does anyone sitting here know? I think that anyone who takes this note is like a miracle. And I want everyone to hear this miracle.
Last chord. Listen.
Sopranos, I love you, all of you. But I don't want to hear you at all.
Есть такое неправильное понимание духовности, неправильное понимание — это когда человек повышает
There is
голос.
this incorrect understanding of spirituality, this incorrect understanding that when a person raises his voice and speaks with emotion to someone else, those around him start to think that he is being mean or unkind. This is not an orthodox approach to the matter. The person who speaks angrily to others does this primarily because he wants the people with whom he is speaking, whom he is calling to more proper singing, to fulfill their duty in a holy manner.
He knows what he wants. He knows how he's going to get it. And in many ways, as serious as he is, I mean, to me, he's pretty comical, because he's always putting forward, I think, some brilliant analogies.
Imagine you want to have breakfast. Себе колбасу. And you're cutting kielbasa. Вы уже отрезали. You made the cut. А этот кусок маленький думает, падать ему или нет. Thinking, should it fall over or not? Should it fall on you? Он думает. He's thinking. Ему интересно. He's curious. It's interesting.
Honestly, I thought, oh my, I don't think I'm going to make it through these next 5 days. I thought, I'm going to need confession every day.
Oh man, I hope we don't mess up again, because then he's going to go on into a longer explanation. So whatever his method is, it really makes you sit and focus about what's coming up next and do it right the next time.
As soon as somebody leaves, it's aha. You get these aha moments to say, you know, I didn't even realize that this is how much better I could be singing. And that's what we want. It's a progressive process. Doesn't matter your skill level.
He helps you to want to offer everything that you have at that time, but you get so much out of it.
And this is a very challenging program, to be able to do this and to come together for the glory of the church and as musical evangelists. So absolutely, it's worth it.
We witnessed the charismatic, modest, witty, and by all standards, a dynamic maestro take a sacred choral piece through a formative process, from birth through meticulous nurturing to a masterful realization. But at the same time, there was also something very unusual and beautiful in this learning process, primarily from a spiritual perspective. At the very first rehearsal, Maestro Gorbik asked for the singer's attention and very seriously told them that he does not expect them to just diligently sing the music, but to pray while performing the sacred text.
Without fermatas. Without. Listen.
After weeks of personal preparation, online classes, and 3 grueling days of master classes, the choir was ready for its world premiere. Three concerts were performed in New York City, Pittsburgh, and Washington, D.C., thus showcasing the accomplishments of the newly organized Patriarch Tikhon Russian-American Music Institute.
I thought there were angels singing. I had no idea what I had been missing, and it was an incredible experience.
Any professional can sing Orthodox chant, but when someone who is faithful to the church, is a member of the church and participates in the sacraments, it comes across in their singing.
Everyone should hear the Patriarch Tikhon choir. It was incredible, not only musically, but also I just felt like I was in church.
They certainly are trying to preserve the tradition and also inspire young people to carry on the tradition. It's very important.
What's really wonderful about endeavors like the PaTRAM Institute is that it offers the opportunity for both the preservation of a long tradition of liturgical music, and also the introduction of perhaps new ways of applying that music.
You know, everybody always says, boy, if we only had this, or if we only could do this. You wish for some other set of circumstances to be in place before you actually buckle down and do something. And I think we have this set of circumstances here in place now for us actually to create something pretty significant and pretty effective and very useful. And so I would encourage people to get involved and to say, wow, now, okay, we can really do something good here, so let's do it.
The work of PaTRAM is the work of the Holy Spirit. It's bringing together a very powerful witness for Orthodoxy in America.
I would like to ask everyone to support the PaTRAM Institute for the good of our church and its future in this country and other countries on this continent.
With prayer as a premise, we have assurances that the devoted choir is set on a commitment of developing a mission of inspiration to church liturgical services and to the grateful audiences throughout the religious world.